If you haven't heard about the Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. The Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it's easy to be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Thank you very much. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a special bonus episode of Gotta Have Heart Wrestling by yours truly, Jamal Honus. A little bit on the weather here, but still feeling okay to do it. I witnessed a historic event. Well, I guess historic in its own way. And this isn't a non-WWE event or non-AW event, but rather a very controversial TNA wrestling event. And I've gone down the list. I decided to pick out what to watch on the Impact Wrestling, you know, well, network, I guess their own network, their app subscription. I came across the pay per view 9 years ago in March of 2011 called TNA's Victory Road 2011. And, surrounding the controversy that happened in the main event, which is pretty uncontroversial to say the least here. This event will take place in Orlando, Florida, in the Impact Zone with 1,100 fans here on March 13, 2011. We saw, that on the March 3rd edition, 2011 of Math Wrestling, we saw the network, so-called network, that ruined Bischoff and Hogan's plans and have Jeff Hardy face his mystery challenger, which would be Sting. Sting comes in, wins the TNA World Championship from Jeff Hardy, the TNA Antichrist custom-made belt, which is actually a cool belt. I'm actually a fan of that belt just because it was different. It was, something that Jeff Hardy created himself, or I don't know if Hogan and Bischoff made for him, but it was something different. And I actually liked it. The purple straps, actually, you never seen like that before. So it was pretty cool to see there. Oh, man. Well, let's kick off this event here. First up, we got Tommy Dreamer defeating Bully Ray in a Falls Count Anywhere match of 10 minutes and 45 seconds. We saw a long match. We saw a table, we saw trash cans, even saw like a half broken Singapore King kendo stick, rather. I don't know which, is authentic to use which name for that kind of weapon. I've heard it kendo stick, Singapore King is pretty weird. I think I like kendo stick better. Let's go with that. A half broken kendo stick, which Tommy Dreamer came off the top rope and bashed Bully Ray in the head. So that was pretty good in the matchup there. And then just as we saw Bully Ray going for the victory, we saw what happened to Devon's sons. They came out, him distracting Bully Ray. Devon comes in. Helltime Dreamer sets up the 3D right through the table in the middle of the ring. Tommy Dreamer covering Bully Ray. Getting the 1, 2, 3 in 10 minutes and 45 seconds. I kind of felt like this was an upset, but I felt like it was a much needed win for Tommy Dreamer. Mind you, Tommy Dreamer is the heart and soul of ECW back in the day. 90s, late 90s, early 2000s. And even one time when the WWE had their ECW brand in 2006. Which is pretty cool, but it wasn't really the same. I felt like we saw a little bit of that old style ECW wrestling when Tommy Dreamer came to TNA wrestling. And around this time, Bully Ray was at his highest peak. You would think that Bully Ray being Bubba Ray Dudley, a part of Dudley Boys, is cool. I feel like this was a big, major singles push for Bully Ray in his career. And I condemn TNA wrestling for giving him that because they needed to break Bubba Ray out of that tag team. WWE wouldn't do it. So TNA wrestling gave him that chance, and he took the ball and he ran with it. He ran further than any singles competitor that would have come out with tag team since Shawn Michaels coming out of the Rockers or Bret the Him and Hart coming out of the Hart Foundation. Pretty damn cool. So much needed win for Tom Dreamer here tonight against Bully Ray, and I would call it upset a little bit, but like I said, I applaud this match. It's pretty good. It was entertaining to kick off the show. So yeah. All right. Next up, we will see the TNA's Knockout Tag Team Championship on the line with Rosita and Sarita defending against actually, no, the challenging Angelina Love and Winter of the Beautiful People with Velvet Sky, I guess kind of in the corner, but, not in the corner at the same time. So, yeah, let's just say that, pretty good here. For those who don't know that, Rosita is actually Selena Vega in WWE, or was really big in WWE. So, now she's departed with the company due to reasons that I won't mention on this podcast here. But, pretty cool to say the least here. This match was pretty cool. It lasts for 4 minutes and 58 seconds, with Rosita and Sarita, due to a mixed communication with the interference of Velvet Sky, this matchup here, helping Rosita get the win for her team, pinning Winter 1, 2, 3, and becoming the new TNA Knockout Tag Team Champions. So pretty good match back and forth. I felt like, the women's division, well, I guess the Knockouts division, I guess that's an appropriate word to say. The Knockouts division in TNA wrestling was pretty cool, but I feel like it could have been better. It was a little bit dry at this time. You look back before when it started, they brought the Knockout Championship in 2007 at Mount Florida with Gail Kim winning it in the Battle Royal. Then you see they bring out the Knockout Tag Team Champions, which is the first. WWE's had that in the 70s, 80s. They swallowed the championship. Now TNA decides to create their own women's tag team title belts, calling the Knockouts Tag Team Championship belts. And they bring it here, and with Sarita already winning it the first time in 2009, she does it again in 2011. Here, we'll see them coming the first time in her career, a Knockouts Tag Team Champions. It was pretty cool to see this team get jumped because but the beautiful people, Angelina Love and Velvet Sky, have been on top of the women's division as the greatest women's duo in TNA wrestling today. They recruit Winter, and they got more success here, but losing championships here, I feel like there was a much needed win for Rosita and Sarita. So good win here for these two men, these two women, mind you. All right, next up we will see Hernandez and Matt Morgan in a first blood match. Hernandez, you think of this guy like there's a reason why they call him Supermax. This guy is big. This guy can jump around. Like, he's muscular. He can border toss you. West one of his finishing moves, the border toss, which is a pretty impressive power. It's like a throwing powerbomb type of move. And you see here, like I love Hernandez. I think he's one of the coolest, badass wrestlers in TNA's history. You get Matt Morgan, the blueprint. You see Matt Morgan in WWE. He was okay in WWE, but I feel like WWE could have utilized him more because he's a big guy. He's a tall guy. He's muscular. He's pound for pound one of the strongest people here. The guy can also fly like he's half his weight. It's pretty damn cool to see what these two big men can do with each other, much less it being a first blood match here. Jig back and forth here. We even saw one time with Hernandez almost jabbing one end of the stick of the kendo stick, right, and almost right to the forehead of Matt Morgan here. So referee gets strapped outside the ring because I guess some fan tried to run the ring, which is pretty weird. We don't really know who that fan was, but I didn't know who that fan was. That was pretty random. I guess that happens sometimes at WWE when the fan can't contain themselves and try to get involved in the action. That was a bit random. But yeah, then we see Hernandez spraying some fake blood, I guess, store-bought blood, I guess, all over Matt Morgan's chest and his side. Referee comes in, see the blood on there, which I don't like this at all. Okay, mind you, if a different scenario happened, if it was like fake blood, well, not even fake blood, if it was like real blood, but get a cut on, the tricep or the bicep and or the abdominal area, I really don't necessarily call that first blood win. That's just a cut. First blood to me is what WWE used to do. If you bleed on the forehead, any part of the forehead, on the top side, whatever, that to me counts as first blood. That's drawing first blood. I don't believe that even if it wasn't for fake blood on Matt Morgan, you got cut right there. That shouldn't stop. It should have still kept going. I really felt like this was wrong on TNA's part to just be like, oh, first blood on their body, oh, ring the bell. I didn't really like that at all. It is stupid. It really is stupid. I didn't condemn this. I give this match. I think it's one of the worst first blood matches ever. I give it 1.5 out of 5 stars, and I didn't like it. I really didn't. It was like a waste of a match here. I mean, what you thought was gonna be good. These two guys could beat the hell out of each other, but end up stopping. The match lasted 8 minutes and 35 seconds. So again, not one of your typical first blood matches. Not one of the best. I think it was probably the worst first blood match by far. So Hernandez wins, I guess. He took it any way he can. In a way. Next up here, we will see Ultimate X match for the X Division Championship between Jeremy Buck, Mass Buck, who are known as the Young Bucks in AEW right now. And I don't know who came up with the idea called Generation Me. It may sound cool, but Young Bucks sound way better. I don't know if Impact Wrestling trying to change their demeanor, knowing that these guys are one of the best tag teams in all of wrestling, in the whole world. And you got Robbie E with Cooking's matchup going up against a Ultimate X legend, Expedition champion, Kazarian. Kazarian being the five-time Expedition champion. Kazarian, I think in my mind, I think he's the best Expedition champion of all time. He's proved that all years, ever since he came to TNA Wrestling in 2002 and 2011. That's like 9 year span. Like he won the championship 5 times. Kazarian right now, like is on top. He really is. If you go back in real life, if you watch AEW's Dynamite, he went 1-1 with Chris Jericho. Really phenomenal matchup. He could have won that matchup. I really believe Kazarian has the makings of being a world champion one day. If he's with FCU, SCU, and EAW, he has potential to become one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. Kazarian has the look, the charisma, the strategy, the mat game, the high flying, everything. Aerial. It's pretty damn cool to see what happens here. We saw a Spawn's matchup here where, Robert E goes over top rope. Thanks to Generation Me, hits his head on the steel steps. That was a pretty hard bump right there. I'm surprised he came back up from that. And then you see Jeremy Buck with a moonsault outside the ring to both Robbie E and Kazarian, thanks to his brother Max Buck. And it's pretty cool. You watch Generation Me, any type of match these guys will have is phenomenal. If you go back to like let's say Bound for Glory 2010 or Turning Point 2010, these guys get the most machine guns. One of the greatest tag team matches between those two teams ever. I can watch these two teams go hand in hand. I mean, they had that Full Metal Mayhem. I will never forget that Full Metal Mayhem in November 2010. That was one of the greatest tag team matches involving weapons I'd ever seen. That was pretty damn cool. I wish wrestling right now with tag team matches like that again. But you got those type of matches with, you know, the Young Bucks, whether it's FTR or, you know, um, Dark Order, Phoenix and Pentagon Jr., Ray Phoenix and Pentagon Jr. Like, it's pretty damn cool to see what these duo brothers have worked themselves and gained the reputation of calling themselves the greatest tag team in professional wrestling today. And we saw Robbie E getting the ladder in this match and try to climb up, get the belt. Technically, ladder's not using a Ultimate X match. If you're here, this is a wire match. Climb the wire, get the belt, you win. That's exactly what Kazarian did. Using his experience, his well-known experience in the Ultimate X matches, climbing the wire on the top of the structure even, and getting the belt, knocking Robbie E off that ladder to the floor, retaining his X-Division Championship. I'm glad Kazarian won this matchup. It will last 14 minutes and 22 seconds. Pretty amazing matchup here. I really enjoyed it. Next up, we got Bear Money, Inc., James Thorpe, and Robert Roode defending the TNA Tag Team Championships against Inc. Incorporated of Jesse Neal and Shannon Moore. I can't say enough how Bear Money together, another amazing tag team. Really, one of the best tag teams of all time. And you got Inc. Not only know much about Jesse Neal, he's like phenomenal. So that freaking red mohawk, man. I thought Shane's mohawk was really big. Jesse Neal may have probably had the biggest mohawk at the time. So then again, you got Shannon Moore, who's a well-known wrestler, a part of North Carolina's or Shane Helms and the Hardy Boys, and pretty damn cool to see what these two teams will do here. And I feel like Shannon Moore's TNA wrestling run was a little better than his WWE run. So Shannon Moore had to really break out here to make it on his own, even with Justin Neal, but he's still branching out as being this tattoo punk rock artist and pretty damn cool. I like this character. I love Ink actually. They had the potential to stand out as a good tag team. One time, Justin Neal wrestling's matchup clean. We did see Shannon Moore try to go for that whatever object that was, some kind of metal book, whatever it is, and try to cheat his way to victory. Jesse Neal said he did not want to win like that, which I condemn, Jesse Neal for going that way. But they got distracted. Robert hits the DWI. Red Money gets the DWI for the 1-2-3 and retains their tag team championships. We saw even Jesse Neal shake hands after the matchup. Shannon Moore being the sole loser spits the beer and James Storm's face and just runs off. And like I said, Bear Money still tag team champions. At least Kazarian, Bear Money is still keeping the championships within Fortune. So it's pretty cool here. Next up, we will have AJ Styles versus Matt Hardy, accompanied by Ric Flair. This is a pretty good matchup here. We saw a lot of this matchup here. AJ Styles, yo, let me tell you this though. There was a one cool moment which I thought phenomenal AJ Styles can do. Ever seen being Irish whipped towards the guardrail. He slips underneath the guardrail. No one, that little bit of tiny space, he was still going to the guardrail like it's nothing. Hops on the guardrail, hits that forearm on Matt Hardy. And that was a pretty cool spot there. I did not know how phenomenal AJ Styles can get. But it seems like every match versus AJ Styles, he tends to surprise you with these different antics, and I love it. This is why AJ Styles is so damn phenomenal. This is why he earned that nickname at being the phenomenal one. I really loved it. AJ Styles never ceased to amaze me. Every time he just goes out there and just does the he does, and he makes it look damn good. He really does. I love it. AJ Styles is the best in-ring performer since Shawn Michaels in the '90s. That's how good AJ Styles is. You can compare him to Shawn Michaels, you know, Randy Savage, amazing, amazing competitor here. Of course, Matt Hardy, veteran in his prime, company right Ric Flair, that's pretty cool. Matt Hardy will get the win. And we saw Ric Flair, interfere a couple times in this matchup here too. But AJ Styles going to win 17 minutes and 38 seconds here. And pretty cool matchup here. He really just takes the Ric Flair after the match, giving Ric Flair a low blow. You know, even AJ Styles, a move that he hasn't used in a while, the spiral tap, that corkscrew moonsault, somersault, whatever you want to call it. Pretty amazing move. Every time you see him hit that move, it just gets better and better. But AJ Styles proved that this night he was the phenomenal one. Next up, we have Mr. Anderson versus Rob Van Dam, one-on-one here, and a no more contenders match to see who would face the world champion at Lockdown the month of April. Pretty good competitive matchup here. We've heard that Rob Van Dam never lost the championship last year when he was the TNA world champion, getting a tap like this and had to go home for a couple months here. Return the round score, defeats the best in Monsters Ball. Mr. Anderson, on the other hand, Mr. Anderson getting screwed out of the championship that ladder match, even not awarded his championship rematch, they should have the following impact after against all odds, and but that's just when it comes to no contender matches here, I don't think neither Hogan and Bischoff was in favor of either of them winning. Just to not have them challenge whoever won the championship match in the main event here at this event. You know, ends up Mr. Anderson hits the mic check on Robert Van Dam on the ring ramp and getting the double count out in 12 minutes and 54 seconds. Pretty tough matchup. I love Mr. Anderson. I like him when he was Mr. Kennedy in the WWE, Mr. Anderson Team Wrestling. Pretty damn cool either way. I love his character. So yeah, pretty good matchup to say the least here. Next up, we have the main event. We have Sting defending the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, the Antichrist Championship against Jeff Hardy in a no DQ matchup here. This is where things took a turn for worse. Many people did not know this. If you watch the Hardy Boys episode on Something God I've Wrestling with Bruce Pritchard on the WWE Network, or you can listen on this podcast, wherever podcast available is, Jeff Hardy was not in the right front in this matchup. We have seen him, or at least heard rumors that him being intoxicated on doses of maybe different drugs of some kind. He was not in the right mindset. You see Sting come out, get a couple of punches here, gets a scorpion death drop, pinning Jeff Hardy in a minute and 28 seconds. We even saw the fans didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. I think it was a screw job to the whole company, you know, and I think it was a low blow by Jeff Hardy to the whole company. And it was like, it wasn't cool. It really wasn't cool at all. I didn't condone him whatsoever. That was one of the worst championship match in TNA history. It was. You expect this match to be good. I mean, Jeff Hardy and Sting. Who better than Jeff Hardy and Sting? But it was like maybe, you know, if Jeff Hardy wasn't on whatever he was on that night, we could have saw an amazing main event here. And I know Sting was heavily disappointed. He did not want to retain championship that way. And I don't know. I really think after this event, with the main event, I think TNA's wrestling just took a worse turn downhill from here, and it wasn't the same after that. I kind of stopped falling in love with TNA wrestling after that main event. That was the horrible. That may be the worst match in special wrestling history. That's how bad this match was. It wasn't that good at all. It sucks. People paid their money to see a good main event, and for it to be screwed up like this due to Jeff Hardy's antics again, crash and burn. I'm not gonna spin this in a positive way because Jeff Hardy knew what he did, and he still went out there rather than schedule a match for a different time, and it wasn't cool. I didn't like it at all. So yeah. This match, like I said, a minute 20 seconds for a world championship that caliber in the main event of a pay-per-view. It wasn't cool. It wasn't right at all. Overall, the other matches after before pretty phenomenal. I'll give this match 3 out of 5 stars. It wasn't too bad. The main event could have been a lot better if Jeff Hardy not had been whatever he was on that night. And like I said, sucks for Sting, to retain the world championship that way. I know I'm pretty sure Sting would have loved to face the A game Jeff Hardy that night, and that just didn't happen. Of course, Jeff Hardy got sent home for a long while after this event because TNA lost confidence in him and felt like he couldn't be the face of the company or be his champion, which I don't blame them. So a long punishment for Jeff Hardy after that. But I think as far as the company goes, they kind of downward spiraled from there. And to me, just because of that main event, it's been one of the most controversial events ever. Not talked about. So it sucks. Anyway, guys, thank you for listening to my podcast. And the winning vote for the poll is the ruthless aggression era. I'm going to be talking about that tomorrow. I'm excited. You see these upcoming stars like Lesnar, John Cena, Batista, Randy Orton, Shelton Benjamin, and more. Rey Mysterio. It was a really exciting time to be WWE. Let me not say no more. We're going to talk about that tomorrow on the whole full episode of God Have Heart Wrestling on my podcast with yours truly, Jamal Honus. Thank you guys for listening to this episode about Teenage Victory Road 2011. See, and you'll hear from me tomorrow. Good night, everybody. Be safe.